So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I just got invited to Sunday dinner at somebody's house. I accepted. It's Sunday and my roommate's in the hospital and I've done some cleaning and some church and some prayers and some communion, things like that. How do I do communion? There's a church right there. The wrong church, but they still have communion wafers, and I asked them for some. They didn't really speak much English. It's a Spanish church. And they gave me some during COVID, and I made them kind of last. But that's about it. I sometimes will use something like a tortilla to substitute, but you need to have a priest bless it. And I would rather go to a real church, but if my father's going to keep me from driving, then there's no way I can get to church from where I live. There just isn't a Catholic church in anywhere near the bus routes that I can do other than some of these Spanish Christian churches or stuff like that. My church, Catholic Church, Holy Rosary, we've tried. We don't have the money for a taxi. We're broke in the negatives. So, yeah, we had to do communion at home and church at home. Anyways, but that's not what this is about. This is about these inventions. But I want to make it clear I can do a lot better inventing than talk to my testicles. These are just some of the things I did with the little tools I had on hand. Now, I could invent something like maybe a better version of carbon capture or a storage tank for electricity, what they call a heat convection battery that sits under your house with sand, or we're just spending a week looking into some of the things. I could invent all different types of things, but it depends on what tools I have on hand. Do I have the internet, a computer, a place to live, a bunch of drills, screwdrivers, welders? What are the tools? Saws, metal saws? What do I got? What do I got to work with? But the more I have to work with, the more I can do. Now, I didn't have much to make. Well, I didn't put it in, but I had talked to my testicle. It was a domino that was hollowed out and shaped. It wasn't really shaped, it was just shaped a little bit. I kind of made it in a diamond shape by just doing the edges a little, sanding it, rounding it, and everything too. Don't want sharp corners in your testicle. And then you hollow it out. I made a square, put a microphone in the square, and then I put a piece of plastic over it that was supposed to be like so the microphone could pick up sound. But I put a piece of paper over it and it was pretty muffled, but it still worked. And then I poured a bunch of shit over it to see if it would be bloodproof in your testicle. And it looked like it was pretty good. Had one of those little hearing aid batteries running the thing and everything. The other person gave me the microphone though. I said I needed a microphone this big that ran off of a small battery, this battery. And they were able to put that much together. And then I just put the microphone in the slot. I glued it in there with the battery, but there was no way to take out the battery. I would need to put a slot in the back and more tools. If I'm going to put a removable slot in a domino, I need to remove the back, put a slide bar, like a little indent in the slide bar. That's going to take a nice little precision saw, kind of like the saw you would use on jewelry or little micro pieces, like really small jewelry pieces, stuff like that. So the better the tools you got, the more things you can build. And then once when you have a prototype, you can sell the blueprints or your prototype, and then big machinery can reproduce it. Or you can do it by hand, pumping them out, selling them as a $5,000, $10,000 specialty surgical implant device that all these cool little piercing implant people who I want to implant in my nose, I want to implant in my lip, I want a earring in my testicle, oh yeah, I want a domino in my right testicle, oh yeah, I got a glowing tattoo, oh yeah, I got an implant that makes my arm into a smartphone, oh yeah, I got an implant in my testicle that records, so if I get into a crime the police can't hold me accountable for something I didn't do. Yeah, I have a talk to my testicle implanted in my testicle. Yeah, beat that, motherfucker. So yeah, I can just see these piercing people. It's a little different than the goths. See, I was part of the goths. We are depressed. We are upset about some parent hurting us. That's usually how we look. We wear black. A lot of them are women because they got daddy issues, daddy, doing something. They always got some type of problem, and they're not actually depressed. A lot of them are just listening to depressing music. A lot of them are some of the happiest people I ever met, the most into life, like AP. When you look at her, she looks depressed until you talk to her at any moment in her life and you realize this is a very sweet and nice girl. And she doesn't seem depressed. And when you talk to her, she goes, "No, I'm not depressed." She goes, "I'm just goth." And a lot of us have that same thing. I mean, the medication makes us depressed, but that's something to think about. But there's another category of punk. There's another people who are the implant people, pain seekers. We call those pain seekers. They put hooks in their back and hang from the ceilings. And they put all these piercings in and out of their nose, lips, ears, the works. And then they got the nipple piercing. They got the implants in their titties and head. They got the thorns in their head. They definitely got the domino in their ball sack. That's like the first implant every implanter gets. I don't, how do I know this? I've met everybody from society. I've met at least 10 people with implants because they walk around the shelters and the streets going, "You want to see my implant? I don't even know you. I'm walking through Lawrence literally to go to a store. I'm going to a store to trade my food stamps in for cigarettes, and you are who? Oh, I'm a Fuaco from Puerto Rico. I just got out of prison yesterday." And you're walking around the street sewing your ball sack. Well, you don't like my heart domino? It's fine, buddy. I can't even see because I haven't looked down to what mess you got down there. So it's fine. I don't know what it looks like, but it must be fine to me. And I walk on. But this is a common occurrence through many cultures, apparently. So that was a stupid invention that you would be selling the prints to. You'd be selling your, what do you call it? Your oh my god, I just said it. Well, this one's a memory lapse. This time it's not that I can't say it. This time it's actually a memory lapse, and that's where it gets confusing. Is sometimes I trying to say a word and I just can't, then I have to switch, or I can just forget stuff like anybody else. But a patent. I would be selling patents for these things. The talk to my testicle surgical implant microphone. That's it. And it would be sold to a certain type of, those piercing stores. They would carry it. All the piercing and implant places that have licenses to implant people, they would be the people carrying this type of implant. And it would be a stupid sell because I could sell carbon capture, but that's just as stupid. Why would I want to build a rooftop carbon capture machine when nobody would want to profit off it? You can't profit off of it, so who the hell wants it? Well, you have to make it look like something special that everybody needs, like a new addition that makes everybody feel special. That's too hard. That requires a marketing team with lots of marketing, and I don't have money for that. So it's better off just to invent very abstract things that could become super popular or useful in certain different industries or areas. Industries that don't rely on big money coming in. Like restaurants require people having extra money, just like surgical implants require people having money to waste. So those might be not the best to invest into. But to just draw up in your spare time, if you got a glue gun and the stuff to throw it together, get yourself a nice little prototype, write up whatever the blueprints are going to look like. That's where I have the most trouble. And then sell the patent. Just patent the damn thing and sell the patent because you don't plan on building them and selling them. Let some other implant company deal with the headache. But there's a lot better ideas if I was given better tools where I could solve a lot better problems. Even candy bars that could be sold so easily. I got an Elvis chocolate bar. I got another one I'm working on is making a candy that changes your taste buds with the miracle fruit. I also was trying to make a gel out of the toothache plant, but I found they already do that in some other really other parts of the internet. You can find toothache plant paste and stuff. But it's not a common thing. It's not like everybody knows the toothache plant can be used on your teeth and your aches. So, yeah, stuff like that. I have a lot more plant discoveries to come up with as well. That like there's a lot of up and coming studies on CBD. One is a Pacific CBD I'm interested in studying and turning into my own line of salves is CBDV. I think that would make a great nerve cream with a couple additional plants. It would be amazing. And I've already tried it out and people love it. They love my CBDV nerve pain cream. I got old people wanting lots more with no weed in it. No weed. They wanted weed free. If they want weed, special order. But I stopped. I couldn't give away anymore. By the way, I was giving it away and they were buying me argan oil. And sometimes some other waxes and stuff like beeswax or jojoba wax, but argan oil and jojoba oil were the number two. Just get me a bottle of that. Thank you. Get me a bottle of that because that's the most expensive ingredient that mostly goes into this stuff is the really good oils. And I bought the 26 that only comes in, I think it was 16 ounces, and that was a really good deal because $100 barely gets you anything, and that's not the medical grade stuff. I was buying the stuff that is deodorized and perfectly made for skin purposes, cosmetic use. It's top of the line. I could have bought the cheap, undeodorized or just deodorized. No, this is not only deodorized or whatever, it's also put through the process to make it skin and face grade. It can be used as a face. It is top of the line. It is the one you want for a salve. You don't want the stuff in a gallon that is the cheap stuff. You don't want to use that. You want to get the makeup grade, the stuff that's already brought up to grade, like you just can pour it and you're ready to go. Because the other stuff you really should clean up to make it good. I want it to be hypoallergenic, so it has to be skin and face grade, top of the line. And I only could find one because it was in a bag. But I got a good deal at that price only because I am that type of shopper. I can get amazing deals. I can get 120 grams of pure benzocaine for 20 bucks that nobody else can get because I'm that good. And it will be meant for skin cream making too. Well, you're not supposed to be able to do either. But I have proof that I was able to do it because people just want me to make a cream. That's simple. And they allowed it. The sale went through right on Amazon. Everything goes through right on Amazon or well, actually, no, almost everything was Amazon except for I go to GVB Biopharma Industries for my CBD V isolate or CBD V distillant. It's actually a CBD full spectrum distillant with, I think it's, was it 27%? Oh, well, it's a big percentage of all minor cannabinoids, including CBDV. So I have two, and it's a good idea to mix them together, bringing it to like 50 of other ones, but 50% at least of CBDV. But you got to use the isolate, was super expensive. But when other people are footing the bill for you to make more, like your customers, it works out. And people loved it. I mean, God, they were coming back, and I'm like, there's no weed in that. They go, yeah, we know. We love it. And I'm like, wow. There's no weed in that. I'm like, wow, I thought I was going to have to find a place that sold Delta 9 distillant, but all the weed stores don't sell that, so I gave up on that. But now I don't have to.